Welcome back to another episode of Viewmasters, episode 51. Rusty, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I can't believe we made it to episode 51.
Neither can I.
This is a big one, for me at least.
This is a huge one. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. My first time seeing it. One of your favorite films, I believe.
It's up there. I don't know. Is it up there for you now?
Well, we'll have to get to that. But before we begin,
what a tease! What a tease!
I just wanted to say we have a lot of new listeners of our back episodes. So I wanted to say that we used to be called Archers of Horror. You're probably confused if you missed the episode where we changed. Secondly, we no longer abuse audio clips.
No,
there's almost none these days.
It's not cranberry sauce.
We grew up.
I have to give a shout out to the guy who gave us a bad review about using too many clips, because that really did open my eyes. Of course, everyone knows our 19 one-star reviews, which were unfair.
Oh, you're bringing that back up now?
Personally motivated. That's right. Listener Robbie just mentioned that as a shout out to Robbie. Just mentioned that as one of our key references.
At 100 episodes, we'll drop the 19 one-star reviews.
We will. But this was funny because this was a bad review that we actually deserved. And the guy was like, I can't stand like the audio clips anymore. And I was like, wow, I guess, So if that guy's listening,
relax, you live longer.
The weirdest thing is you would think that after we stopped doing that, we'd get episodes out quicker. But that's just not the case.
We'll get there. I did have a baby recently.
Rusty did have a baby, which brings me to my next topic. So lately I've been listening to a few podcasts about QAnon, and I don't know, but not from the left, by the way, not like believing in QAnon, but
we have new listeners. You got to make it clear. Yeah.
So I don't know if you're familiar with adrenochrome.
No, I'm not.
You're familiar with this part of the conspiracy theory? It's utterly insane. The idea is that adrenochrome is a chemical that is secreted by kids in their blood.
I need it
when they're scared.
I don't even know yet. I would need it.
We both need it. And so basically people scare the shit out of kids to get this drug, which then is given to celebrities to keep them young forever. And I was thinking, since your baby screams so much, we could do like a fake podcast called Adrenochrome Harvesters, where each episode is a different horror movie. And we just like pretend that we're showing them to her and then just have her screaming. And then we talk about like which celebrity we sold it to from the previous episode. We're like, oh, Doom Asylum. Yeah, we sold that to Tom Hanks. He loved it.
I like that plan. Will we be able to get Jen on board for that?
When Jen sees the money that's going to come rolling in, she'll be on board.
My baby spends hours crying. So, I mean, it's a lot to harvest. It's a full-time job.
My God, imagine we're going to show her The Ring. She's not going to fucking believe it. We'll have to explain what VHS tapes are first, but anyway.
Speaking of VHS tapes, though, Rocky Horror Picture Show, I remember growing up always seeing this movie in the video rental stores.
One of the wisest things that one of the most perceptive things that anyone's ever said to me, friend of the show, Maddie, she once said, you know what I noticed about you, Ed? You don't like art that has mouths in it.
So you must hate Man Ray.
I don't even get what that means, but I guess so. Even as a kid, I could not stand that Rolling Stones logo.
A logo.
And I think that's what kept me away from this film.
Is this what kept you away from Kiss? You must have been shocked by that.
A lot of things kept me away from Kiss.
No Kiss Army membership for you?
Hell no. Always hated the music. Always hated the makeup. Always hated the tongue.
In the 80s, they did take that makeup off for that big reveal.
When did you first see this film?
It was actually later, and not as late in life as you at 41 years old, but I was in high school when I first saw it.
So not as late as me at 2 a.m. last night.
Is that what it was?
And I have the air purifiers running at like full blast because, as you know, the sky is completely orange right now. And so I had Rocky Horror going. The volume must have been fucking insane. Now, all of my neighbors have basically abandoned downtown LA. Like my whole floor is basically empty now, except for me. But if anyone walked by my apartment, they'd be like, what is this guy up to now?
It's like, whatever happened this Saturday night? Well, at Eddie's place, it's orange, blasting Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Wow.
But I have to ask you, I know you haven't seen this movie until late last night. but I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of aspects of it because it's featured heavily in pop culture.
Yeah, so is my dick. What's your point?
I think every girl that I ever dated has been into this movie, has liked this movie.
Yeah, that checks out.
What does that mean?
I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what dating is anymore. I know that. Let me just say that the last person I dated,
You have their head in the
pretty sure
box?
no, I'm pretty sure she listens to this podcast, and I just want you to know that I haven't dated anyone since. Tim Tams. That's my code I'm sending you. Tim Tams. You know what it means.
Well, I was going to say, I was going to ask you, are you active in the dating scene right now?
Not at all.
Okay, so I can't answer you my question then.
Oh, you can ask me, but it might not be a very interesting answer.
I was just going to say that you should ask if these people are into Rocky Horror and see what kind of. I want to test my theory.
Well, I had a video date. I tell them about my video date. Lasted 8 minutes long.
That checks out.
It was so awkward. And it was like, the worst part is that I calibrated the lighting. I really thought about it, all this stuff. She appears. I just couldn't do it. I finally said, I feel like I'm dying. I have to go.
What were you wearing? Because like you said, you had the lighting going. You had the scene set up. You were trying to make an impression.
Bathrobe. I was wearing my bathrobe.
What do you think's worse, that or like wearing a suit? Imagine like going on a date and just wearing a suit. No.
I should have worn a suit.
Imagine you just look like Riff Raff when he opens the door to like Brad and Jen. He's just like, you're wet.
I might have. The thing is that like, the thing about a video date is you always see yourself. So I kept noticing my posture becoming uncomfortable. And then I would be like, ooh, I've got to adjust that. And then I would notice her noticing it. And I noticed her looking uncomfortable. And I was just like, this is truly hell. And actually, let me tell you the worst part about it. And you'll be able to relate to this big time. You know, when we've recorded podcasts when you don't have your headphones on?
Yeah.
I could hear my voice on a delay on her end. You can't work with that. No. You can't work with that.
You lost me at being able to see yourself because that just gets in my head so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to see myself ever.
I thought I was looking confident. Then I looked at myself and I was like, if I slouch in this chair anymore, I'm just going to fall off of it. I'm going to slide off of it.
I've been with Jen for 5 years. She's just like, why are you still dressed like Michael Myers from the bedroom scene when he has a sheet over him? That's how I make myself.
Wow.
You know what I hate though? Like when you think you're having a pretty good day and you're walking around in public and you go past a storefront window and you see your reflection and you're like, is that really how I walk? Is my posture that horrible? I feel like that way when I push the baby around in her carriage and I like pass by a car window and I see myself and I'm just like, I'm like a ghoul hunched over pushing this cart.
You know, we don't talk about balding too much anymore because it's that race has been run. But I swear there's some mirrors they set up around this town just to fuck with me.
Post-shaved hair or are you like pre?
No, pre-shaved head when I was still trying to get through it. And there's a few, so like those 3 days basically where like it really was basically rioting happening. I wanted to join the crowd and just focus on those mirrors. I'm like, guys, what about this mirror? Let's smash it.
I think it was the 20th anniversary, maybe. It came out in 75, so might have been 95. Or maybe it was the 25th anniversary. No, that would be too late. But VH1 played it like all the time at night for like months straight. And I was watching it every night. That's how I spent it. But that might have been, I know I've seen it before that. I don't know if this is interesting.
I love it. I mean,
good. I'll keep going.
Yeah, this movie really evokes kind of like a nostalgia, like, you know, that kind of unplaceable nostalgia you get for times that you never experienced. Like, I remember I used to become so sad as like an 8-year-old listening to the song Summer of '69. I was like, oh, those were some good days that guy had. I hope I have days like that someday. That wasn't my normal kid voice. I don't know what that was. Woo! My neighbor's like, I don't know what to think about this guy anymore.
Summer of '69. That was the one that took you back to a place you never recall or been.
And and then when I found out that he hadn't been there either, wow.
Yeah, I do remember growing up when like around Halloween time where they would play, you know, like at night they would play Halloween and they'd play like other horror films and they would play Rocky Horror. And that one always like turned me off for some reason as a kid. I'm sure to you as well. There's probably aspects of it that would have turned you off as a kid. Just the look of it.
I have to say, yeah. I'll be completely honest and express my, shortcomings. As a 5-year-old kid, my stance on trans rights were not what they should be. I think I found. I mean, I don't even not that I expressed them, but I think I found Dr. Frankenfurter. Is that his name?
Yeah. Yep.
Troubling in some way I couldn't quite place.
Yeah, maybe you were a bit attracted to him.
No, I'm still not attracted to him.
Really? You didn't find him charming? You had to find him charming at least. Maybe
No, I love him charming wise, but I mean, I find Rocky to be more of a guy for me.
That hairdo on Rocky though, that's something we have to talk about.
I think I can pull that hair off now.
I always hated Brad Majors though. I think everybody hates him.
Yeah,
I think that's like the thing you're supposed to hate him.
He's a bit of a blank. He's kind of like the lead in Scanners, Stephen Lack. He's kind of like, who is this guy? Why is he here? And Susan Sarandon obviously is like so much better, and all the henchmen and stuff. I love all them, but we'll get into that.
Oh my god, yeah, I would be one of the henchmen if I could. I would be a Transylvanian.
You were born to be a henchman. You're a born henchman.
Are you a henchman?
You're the henchman. I was born to be a ringleader. Not to flatter myself.
I don't know about that.
I was on a path though. I've gone from I was going to be like a Hans Gruber, and now I'm like going to be the killer in Manhunter.
Yeah, that's more your speed though.
Oh yeah, big time.
Very methodical.
I could never be the when I was watching it the other day. I was like, I could never be the investigator. Like when he walks into that bloody room, and he's like looking around and he's like assessing everything. I could never do that because I've got a compulsive need to clean. He would be, they'd come in and the room's like totally clean. And they're like, do you have any idea what the fuck? And I'm like, I had to clean it. It's all clean now though. And they're like, but you didn't figure out who killed him?
I want to know who would you be in the Star Wars universe? Emperor? The Emperor?
Yeah, either the Emperor or Lobot. But you just mentioned Halloween. I just wanted to say, ask you, how's the Halloween season going?
How do you know I'm a big Halloween fan? Jen and I have already been to the stores already. We've already bought some things. We bought a new doormat, a Halloween doormat that quotes Hocus Pocus. And we haven't really started watching horror films yet because it's hard with the baby. But decorations wise, we're getting there.
Do you have a costume plan for Nova yet? Because I have a great suggestion if you don't.
I did have now I might want to do a Rocky Horror themed costume, but
this might be a little too edgy for a baby. But what about one of the sex parasites from Shivers? Check out our episode on Shivers.
You know what the really sad thing is? That I know that was like 2 years ago now, but I can't even remember what they look like.
They just look like little poops.
So you're saying Nova should be a little poop.
Well, it's easy for an infant to pull off.
I can't think of a costume. I don't know. I can't think of anything funny.
Well, that's saying in.
Will you be buying candy this year for trick-or-treaters?
Ooh, that's a great question. I have never, in my 6 years of living in this apartment, I have never had a trick-or-treater, so it'll only be for myself. I do actually put it in the lobby, and it goes so fast. So I will get candy for the lobby, and I will also be getting candy for myself.
Yeah, you gotta buy candy for yourself. I've been buying candy already, and I've been eating it, so there's nothing for trick-or-treaters yet.
What's the top item?
I love the Reese's. What are they? The Reese's peanut butter cup, but the bats one. They're in the shape of bats or pumpkins.
Oh, it sounds very festive. I believe that they're made from slave labor.
What? Why be such a downer?
Look, that's why you got to order Purdy's Canadian chocolate. That's what we endorse on this show.
That sounds like a commercial, like the old time game shows where they like just slip into a commercial.
Voted best place to work in Canada.
Wow.
So the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Rusty, give us a little background on this.
Well, obviously it's a cult classic now.
Yes.
Upon its initial release, it bombed.
Sometimes I think it's hard to really take stock of a movie when it first comes out. You know, people see movies at festivals, they feel like they're too good, or like there's too much hype around a movie, it gets poisoned by the hype. I want to be a honest film reviewer. Every review is just going to read, check back in 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching a YouTube review of Rocky Horror, and the person actually said that you can't base movies on their success because otherwise Phantom Menace would be considered a classic.
That was Watto's YouTube channel too, which is the most shocking thing about it.
That makes sense.
Come on.
Wait, we're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
But
I don't know.
yeah, I think it's so ahead of its time.
It really is. Like the way that it mixes genres, and it seems like so much more. Like you can't believe it's like a pre-Star Wars kind of thing. Like it seems way more advanced.
Yeah, and it really holds up, I think, to the test of time. I mean, obviously you have the loyal followers, but I think like it still pulls in younger audiences. I mean, aside from it being a horror comedy, the musical aspect of it is outstanding. It's probably one of my favorite musicals.
What other musicals do you like?
I like Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Yeah.
End of list. No, I like well, movie wise, I like Sing Street. That's a good one. As far as Broadway shows go, I don't know. A lot of the ones I go to, I hate that talk singing. Like Book of Mormon was good, but a lot of those other ones I can't stand. Like I've seen like I don't know. I've seen a lot of them. But why? What do you want to say?
Oh, I'm just a musical master.
Oh, what's your favorite? Miss Saigon?
I don't what does that supposed to mean?
That was always like one of those commercials growing up. It was always Cats and Miss Saigon. I went with Miss Saigon.
Oh, that is, yeah. I mean, like the telecharge. I was always like, what is telecharge?
Why? What musical what's your favorite musical?
Favorite? I don't know where to begin with my favorite. I will say that I keep listening to the song Move On from Sundays in the Park with George. The Jake Gyllenhaal version, he delivers. But until recently, I didn't even know that Mandy Patinkin has a rich history in musical theater. I had no idea.
Wait, you mean Battleship Patinkin?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
and I know it's not cool. But Les Mis, I went to see that alone for however many. I've probably seen it 5 times. I went to see it alone when I was in Australia. The first act, that's just banger after banger.
I'm not a big Les Mis fan. That's
fuck you. Fuck you. You didn't even know.
I read the book. Not a fan.
Oh, give me a break. The book has nothing to do with the musical. Who am I?
And do you really think I read that book? I think the interesting thing about it, though, this movie's very memorable, very quotable, really ahead of its time, but the plot is highly debatable.
Highly debatable.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people really understand the plot. And I don't think in the screenplay itself, I don't think there's some clues there, but it's very open.
Really?
Why, do you have it nailed down?
Some people come to a weird place, they party, end of story.
Nailed it. I think it's a statement of the times of the 1970s, especially for the writer Richard O'Brien, who grew up in the 50s, idolizing, the sci-fi films, and then into the 70s being heavily influenced by glam rock. I think that played a big role in the development of this movie. But I think also the storyline, some of the stuff I've read about it, I mean, you could go all over the place, which I will get into. Richard O'Brien does actually seem like a cool guy.
He does. Yeah. He said he's 70% male, 30% female. I would say I'm 82% male, 18% female.
Really?
Actually, no.
How do you measure that? What's the qualifications to measure that? Like, What do you feel feminine about yourself?
I mean, a lot. So I'm going to go 66% male, 34%. This is not a reductive take on gender, by the way.
This is Richard O'Brien.
this is what Richard O'Brien said.
Get him. That's interesting. What would you say?
What would your percentage be?
50-50, baby.
Oh, wow. Jeez. He's like Two-Face. He flips a coin.
I don't know. I don't know how to classify that for myself. I don't know what the qualifications are. Like, it seems like you're genderizing it.
I am. There's no way to not fuck up this topic. We're going to move on.
Now, obviously, we talked about the iconic lips that opened the movie for the song Science Fiction Double Feature. Now, I'm sure you know this is basic trivia, but those lips belong to Magenta Patricia Quinn. But did you know that Richard O'Brien was actually singing the song?
I did not know that.
Oh, really? Okay. Interesting. But the famous lips that are on the posters doesn't belong to Patricia Quinn. It belongs to a model, Lorelei Shark.
Oh, interesting.
So a lot of 2 sets of lips. And she was only paid $120 for 2 hours of work. No royalties on that.
That's insane, but not surprising. I'll tell you, I have a friend who had a pretty big role in a very big Christopher Nolan movie, only made $1,200.
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about, though.
And this is Christopher Nolan, who wants everyone to die of COVID. He's on the shit list.
The great thing is that I want to slip his name in to see if you could pick it up with editing, but I couldn't even think of his name. I just know your impression of him.
Oh, yeah. Well, now you gave too much away.
What? It's Obama, everybody. He does the impression of Obama. Edward? I made 12.
Is that my dad or Obama?
They're kind of the same.
If Christopher Nolan wants me in a film, he should pay me properly. Now, he said, exposure. Okay. I'm already pretty famous. Chris, please.
Obama, do you like the podcast? Would you say rate and review?
I like it, but you've got to do another episode about blood rage.
I'm crying over here. I love when Obama just randomly appears.
Every Thanksgiving, it's very important to sit down with Sasha and Malia and Michelle and put on blood rage.
Who throws the pumpkin
pie? It's not
pie.
Cranberry sauce. Is basically the model of our household.
That would be a good idea, though, to do blood rage for Thanksgiving when we eventually revisit that one. Maybe next year.
I always want to revisit blood rage. I definitely would be watching it this Thanksgiving alone.
How good is your memory? Do you remember what was his name? Mark Roper or something? What was the lead's name?
Mark Soper.
Soper, yeah. Do you remember what his characters' names were? Terry, and what was the other one?
Ooh, Todd.
Yeah. Okay. You still got it. You still got it.
Well, I've watched Blood Rage like 40 times. I've watched Hellgate like once.
Hellgate is another popular episode. We have a resurgence of Hellgate listeners.
That's such an old one. I can never put that on myself.
Heard it,
but enjoy it.
Obviously, there's the midnight screenings for this.
Mm-hmm.
I think they do them weekly. I actually went to 2 of those shows.
Really? Wow.
One in the city, and one in I think it was Babylon, the Babylon theater there. Both 2 totally different experiences. The city one was, obviously, as you can imagine, people doing all the gestures that you do.
Gestures. So you do gestures. You don't like sing along and shit.
Well, there's different things. Like when there's the wedding, you throw the rice.
I see.
And when there's when Brad comes on and introduces himself, you shout asshole. There's a few different things. I think when the Dr. Scott comes on, you throw toilet paper, like the Scott's toilet paper. I think there's a bunch of them. But the one that I saw in Babylon was more interesting because they had a cast that acted out the whole movie on stage as the movie was playing behind it.
Oh, that's cool.
But what they did was before the movie started, they asked people in the audience if any of them were virgins, which they tend to do. If you're first time being to one of those midnight showings, you're a virgin, and they asked you to come on stage and act out a scene. And I'm glad I did not say I was a virgin, because I would not have been able to handle that.
How did the people handle it? Oh, what were
There
you
was
gonna
only
say?
they only picked a few people.
Mhm.
Basically, most of them just did a line or they sang like part of a song. So it was like those people were pretty hardcore fans. So it wasn't anything embarrassing. But I would have fucking ate shit up there. But if you went up there, what would you have picked, having only seen the movie once?
Well, I have to say I've only seen the movie once, but I already have a favorite song, so I probably would
Okay.
perform that song. My favorite song is "There's a Light On at the Frankenstein Place."
Really?
I
That used
love
to be
that
my
song.
least favorite. That used to be
Really?
my
Wow. I don't know. I love it, and it's such a
really.
it's a symbol of hope. You know, it's like when you've lost all hope, there's still a light on at the Frankenstein Place. I want to walk up my street, sing that song, and like all people join me as we're walking towards City Hall, and the sky orange around us, but we're like, there's a light on at that Frankenstein Place, City Hall, and like all the kids come out of like the cancer hospital. They're walking with me too.
I like that. I like that vision you have. It's quite an image. That out of like everybody usually picks like the big ones like Time Warp, Hot
Yeah,
Patootie,
see?
which great song. Sweet Transvestite. You went with that.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest. Today I was driving the baby around because she naps. She does better naps in the car. So I was listening to the soundtrack, and I was actually enjoying pretty much all the songs more than usual.
Man, I can just see it. You're driving that baby around like it's like Speed. You're like, I can't come to a stop or she might wake up. You're going up on people's lawns and everything, just like, sorry.
That is actually very, very true. Jen actually yells at me sometimes where I pull off the parkway and I'm like down residential streets. She's like, "Why did you go down this street? There's so many stop signs. There's lights." I'm just like, I don't know how to get back on the parkway. We're stuck like this.
This is the married life that I crave.
It's tough, I tell you. Hey, I get no respect. No respect.
What are some of your favorite songs from this film?
I really kind of liked, which I never really liked before, Sword of Damocles, the one that Rocky sings. That one's good. And I like, Touch It, Touch Me is a great one. But the one at the end, I can't think of the name of it. But the one that Frankenfurter sings before being killed, that's a good one. I'm looking it up. Wait, it was called Wild and Untamed Thing. The one where Frankenfurter starts like the my Bob. That one.
Yeah. It's funny with musicals. I find I need to see them a few times before I really get into them. Like, and it's probably uncool these days to like Hamilton, but I got to say, I saw Hamilton and I thought that was just fine. I actually found it kind of boring when I first saw it. And then I found myself thinking, I want to hear that one song again. And then before I knew it, I was listening to the whole soundtrack.
What was I going to say? The movie starts out with Patricia Quinn's lips with the song Science Fiction Double Feature.
Love this song. Love it.
Yeah. Did you like all the references?
It was awesome. I mean, it made me want to see a science fiction double feature. And also it had such a wistful quality where I was like, that's like the old world. I can't even see science fiction double features anymore. You know,
could you even sit through that now? Like, could you really sit through The Day the Earth Stood Still?
I mean, I've tried watching The Day the Earth Stood Still like 5 times. I've fallen asleep like minute 2, even though there's a lot of old movies I could watch, but that one I've really never been able to get through.
What is another classic that you don't think you could sit through? The original Fly?
I think I would struggle with the original Fly. Yes. Do you know that the original Fly was written by James Clavell, who wrote the book Shogun?
Okay, you probably everybody just tuned out after hearing that one.
I just found that out the other day.
Even our biggest fan is just like, come on, guys. What are you dropping there?
All right, back to the song though. Science fiction double feature. You know, I took a line from this, Rusty, and I made it my Tinder bio. I'm going to give you some terrible thrills. I put that line as my Tinder bio.
somehow I believe that could be true.
It is true, except for the thrills part.
To the late night double feature picture show.
And then we start out with the wedding of Brad and Janet's friends from school.
Mm-hmm.
And right after that, Brad proposes to Janet, and we jump into the song "Damn It, Janet." Now, did you notice that the Transylvanians were there at the wedding?
I did not notice that at all. And I watched this scene a few times because I watched this last week also. I mean, I watched like the first half last week. When I watched
How
it
did you miss it?
last night, I don't know how I missed it.
Like Tim Curry was not the minister or whatever. What's that called? Church. I guess it's a minister. And like the church workers were referred. You didn't recognize them? Like they were even doing the part with like the background singing.
Wow. No, I didn't notice that. I should have.
Which is interesting because people speculate, why were they there? Why would they be there? The Transylvanians. Was it a casting thing or was it more sinister to the plot? I have a theory.
What's your theory?
Well, my theory is that part of their mission to Earth was to observe humans, to observe human behavior, and also to, be able to see their practices, and then also perhaps get Brad and Janet or somebody to their castle for their experimentation.
Now, as we said, I'm a newcomer here. So anyone who's listening to this for the first time, normally I'm a film expert. And if you go back to our previous episodes, you can hear about when we used to talk about who the gaffer was on a film.
Yeah.
But we also don't do that anymore. But I have to say, I'm a little confused with the plot. You said from their planet. In my understanding, weren't there only two genuine aliens, Riffraff and what's the other one's name?
Magenta.
Weren't they the only two aliens? Tim Curry's character was not an alien, right?
No, he was.
He was?
He was.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, he says, "I'm going home." He sings the song, "I'm going home," implying that he thought he was going back to Transylvania. Now, I think it's debatable with Columbia. I think she's more of a human groupie that was probably brought in by Eddie.
Love to see a character named Eddie in this. I love that. Then when he died, I couldn't believe it. I started fucking throwing rocks at my television.
Yeah. I love the story Richard O'Brien told about Meatloaf because he did the London stage show. He did a couple of performances there, but like the song that he sings, Hot Patootie, I guess was written in a way that was hard to sing or hard to memorize, and the original actor kept fucking it up. And Richard O'Brien, when he approached Meatloaf, was just like, it's a difficult song. You'll probably mess it up, but it's okay. Everybody does. And Meatloaf looks at it and is just like, nah, I got it. And just like nailed it.
Classic Loaf.
I mean, guy, it's a fucking, do you know how he got his name Meatloaf?
No, how?
Well, you know what? His real name's like Marvin Lee Aday, I think, or LA, something like that. But when he was born, I guess supposedly when he was born, the way he was laying in the nursery in the crib thing, his dad said, just put meat next to him, right? Meat.
Really?
Because he looked like a slab of meat.
Wow.
And then when he played football in high school, he was a big, heavy guy, so they added loaf to the meat part, and he became Meatloaf.
Wow. I remember my brother went to Cornell, and for some reason we all went with him orientation weekend. My whole family went. And my parents said, you can get 2 tapes at like the tape store. And I knew one that I wanted, which was New Kids on the Block, whatever their big album was.
Hanging Tough.
I remember that Hanging Tough song. I used to listen to that on like a Walkman, like walk around, and I was like, I'm hanging tough. Like I thought that was like a really tough song. Like a group of like gangsters would walk in as that song was playing.
You don't take me for a New Kids on the Block fan.
I only was for about 2 weeks.
Yeah. Did you have the dolls? Did you collect the dolls?
I mean, I still listen to on occasion, like the occasional Britney Spears track or Backstreet Boys track.
I'm learning new things about you. Who knew? In our years of friendship.
Obviously, the big one for me out of that kind of artist is Taylor Swift. Now I know you don't even know Taylor Swift. That's what makes me sick.
I hate Taylor Swift.
Really?
There's 2 things I hate. A A is that her father apparently purchased some shares of stock in the record company that she
Okay.
joined to get her on the label. So she
Okay.
obviously comes from a wealthy background. That's just always And the second thing is she tries to pass off that she writes her own songs, but that is obviously not true. Don't try to dupe the public.
Okay.
She has
First of
she has
all,
yes.
look, I can when I don't like an artist, I'll resent their rich background also. But there's so many people who can't deliver, like Taylor, who has like a million classic songs. You just don't know her classic songs.
I know Hot Patootie.
What?
I know science fiction double feature.
People are really lucky this is not a live podcast because I'd already be crawling. I'd be coming across the stage at you.
Believe it or not, I probably could not name one Taylor Swift song, but I do know some of them. Would she have
My
like
my only issue with Taylor Swift is that it takes me so long to get sick of her songs and the albums keep coming. I'm like, Taylor, give me another year to digest.
I'm learning things about you, just like our audience. I'm hating you so much more.
But the point of my story is that my brother was like, "Oh, you got to get Meatloaf, Bad Out of Hell. It's amazing." And I was like too young for me. Like it just really bothered me. It like really annoyed me. And
Yeah.
that has always stuck with me. It's like whenever I hear like Paradise by the Dashboard Light or whatever, I'm always like, kind of annoyed. Brings me back to that. But I'll tell you one great memory of that though, because I know my brother Jim listens. He probably doesn't remember this. But we got $5 and beat the game Golden Axe. What a time.
He probably doesn't remember that. It's funny, like the shit you cling on to.
Oh, it really is. I always think about that with kids. I'm always like, are they going to remember this like random stupid day as like, that was the greatest day of my life?
I feel like I think you're the same as me, but as a kid, I feel like I remember too much.
Me too. My parents thinking that every single person in my life had molested me. Every time I said like, I didn't like an adult, they're like, oh my God, did he molest you?
Yeah, but nobody told you that like in the 80s that it was most likely a family friend or somebody that you knew.
Oh yeah. Way too much stranger danger.
Yeah.
Not enough family. Should have thought that one out.
I don't remember seeing that on a slogan.
I think I mentioned this before, but do you remember that time we went to the mall to buy Star Wars figures, I think? And it was
you have to be more specific.
It was around Christmas time.
Getting closer.
There was a lady trying to sell us like cologne, remember? And I was like, I don't want any, I don't wear any. And she's like, but your girlfriend. I was like, I don't have a girlfriend. I don't need any. And she just kept like following us. And in my memory, which I'm sure is exaggerated, we tried to drive away and she was hanging on the car.
That is true. Holy shit. I totally remember that now. She wasn't even, I thought you were talking about inside the mall. She was outside the mall, like when you left.
No. Yeah. She was like a scary person.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you like slowly driving off and she was like hanging on the window and I'm just like, just drive. Who cares if you run her over? Why would you think you would get that sale at that point as your potential clients driving with you hanging on the side? But anyway, so back to the plot of this movie with Dr. Frankenfurter as part of the Transylvanias. I feel like there was two devices that he created. He created that sonic transducer that he perfected that Dr. Scott was interested in, or I guess the United States military, but he also had that transfer beam that the riffraff comes out with at the end to transfer them back to their home planet. But they had to have that initially, right? To get to the Earth? Because they had to transport their castle to Earth, right?
This is the first I'm hearing about this transfer beam. I guess I didn't watch it too closely.
But it would make sense because, I mean, that house, they didn't come to Earth and they just stumbled on that house and built or assembled that equipment. It had to all come when they time warped here. But my other theory is that, is it possible that when they jump into time warp, as an audience, we're actually warping from the 50s to present day?
I never, yeah,
because
that's true.
It takes on a whole different feel. Because before that, it's much more conservative, like lifestyle of the 50s. I mean, people getting married young. It's very heterosexual lifestyle. Like, but yeah, then you're transported into a very sexually liberated present day glam rock lifestyle. And like the Transylvanians are all very colorful and androgynous, which is new, and especially new to Janet and Brad. Like, this is something that's completely like shocking to them.
Yeah.
And it seems like they have a very 50s feel to them. And I think that's the same thing with Eddie. Like when Eddie might have been transported from the 50s because he's kind of dumb and naive, even obviously he has half a brain, but I mean, he didn't have the same appeal to Frankenfurter as his creation Rocky does. He's not as sexually attractive. I don't know.
I think that's a compelling theory. I love when Eddie bursts in. It's just chaos.
Oh my God.
You know, I love chaos.
What about when Dr. Scott burst through the wall in there?
That was great too. I love that.
Growing up, I always hated Dr. Scott, like when I first was seeing, but I kind of like his character. I like all the characters. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. I have a weird love for, wait, now I'm forgetting her name. Columbia, the groupie.
Oh my God. When I first saw this, I know I say this about every episode, the girl, but I had such a thing for Columbia.
I just love her energy. I mean, she's crazy. I love insanity. I love chaos. I love insanity.
I love her voice too. That squeaky voice. And did you know that she was a busker that did tap dancing? And when they found her, they said, we have to incorporate that into the play.
Really?
The stage show, yeah. So that's why she does the tap dancing number.
You know, there's a lot of interesting trivia about this film. Did you
on.
know that in an interview with Terry Gross on her radio program Fresh Air, Tim Curry said that he got to meet Prince Charles. I wanted to make it seem like I wasn't reading, but obviously I am. And Princess Diana, because she loved, listen to this, she loved Tim Curry in the movie. She requested the meeting while he was in production of Love for Love, a production that, excuse me, here's the important part. Curry recalled that he was placed at the end of the receiving line. And while Prince Charles only vaguely recognized Curry from seeing him, quote unquote, on television, Princess Diana told Curry with a wicked smile that Rocky Horror had quite completed my education. Quite completed my education.
Yeah. Well, wasn't Princess Diana?
I thought that was the wall in the tunnel that completed her education. No, that's fucked up.
Wow.
I don't even know if it was a wall or like a.
We had a good UK following. You just shattered that.
I've noticed our following has gone, like it's increased, but it's become more and more US based.
We just got a bunch of listens from Ireland.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Your homeland.
That's
your homeland
great.
is supporting you. Wasn't Diana, though, a little more free?
She was. Yeah.
Free-spirited. She was a little more cultural and accepting. I mean, obviously, she had that whole thing where she shook the AIDS patient's hand. But, yeah, I think her policies and politics were a little different than what the Queen was aligned to.
I believe that's alluded to in the film The Queen, which I haven't seen since it came out, but was a great film.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Do you know that Steve Martin auditioned for the role of Brad Majors?
Yeah, I also heard that Mick Jagger wanted to play Frankenfurter.
That I read as well. And
now that would have been another mouth for you to handle. Would you have been able to handle Mick's mouth?
I have never been able to handle his mouth. Like that has bothered me my whole life.
You know, it's funny that me too. When he did that song with David Bowie, the Dancing in the Street, his mouth always bothered me. I always thought like kissing him must be disgusting. Do you know what's interesting? Since you read IMDb as well as I did, that the Nixon speech was recorded in September, but when the film takes place in November.
Oh, interesting.
So Richard O'Brien explained that Brad would have recorded it and would just listen to that because he was so square.
So yeah, so September 1974, I guess. So this takes place in November 1974. That's when the Amityville killings were.
Oh my God! Coincidence?
You know, according to Meatloaf, Elvis Presley was the studio's first choice to play Eddie. Apparently, Elvis expressed some interest in the role.
Really? Can you imagine though, like Steve Martin in this, or like Elvis Presley in this movie?
Wow.
Apparently, which I give a lot of credit to Richard O'Brien, that apparently, what studio produced this?
Fox, I think, or Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Fox.
I think it was Fox. They wanted this to be Starfield. They wanted to replace all the main people like Tim Curry and Patricia Quinn. with like David Bowie and other stars at the time.
Oh yeah, but because they stuck with the original cast, they got a smaller budget, but they made do.
The only thing they insisted was that the leads would have had to be American, so they got Barry Bostwick and Susan Sarandon.
You know that 20th Century Fox made several updates to the familiar fanfare theme heard at the beginning of each Fox movie over the years since 1933. This was one of the first movies to completely switch out the music with its own recording.
Really? Look at this. This is just revolutionizing everything.
Actually, the film The Innocents, which have you ever seen before? It's kind of a good movie, actually. It's like a Deborah Kerr, I believe. Deborah Kerr, black and white, like ghost movie.
No.
They put like a haunting song in it. And the Peanuts movie from 2015 also did their own thing, as did Bohemian Rhapsody from 2018. I had a friend that worked on that film, told me crazy stories. That's all I can say.
Really? Anything? Okay.
No, I mean, I could just say Bryan Singer's a fucking scumbag. We all know that, though.
Oh, well, everybody knows that, yeah. Now, Tim Curry, obviously famous for this role. Do you think this is his most famous role, or would you say Pennywise?
I would not say Pennywise, just because it's like still a TV movie, and definitely a very famous role. But I'd say this or Clue, for some reason, seems more famous to me.
Really, Clue?
Yeah.
Interesting. What about his role in Jumanji, Congo?
I thought you were going to say his role in Legend.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was. I didn't like that movie for some reason, but
I don't think a lot of people like that movie. Also, the movie, the set famously burned down, so it's like much different than it was supposed to be. Like they ran out of money, and they had to kind of like.
Is that why it's like pretty much just one set?
You know, Tom Cruise seems so old in Jerry Maguire, but he was like 35. We're already way older than he was in Jerry Maguire.
That's crazy.
I just need to be shot.
What's that?
Just freeze me at this age.
See, I'm surprised you like this movie. Oh yeah, I would love to be frozen at this age. I'm surprised you like this movie though.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like because you've said before that 70s look you don't love.
I've come around to it though. As a kid, I really had a problem with it. To this day, I probably would not be able to. I mean, not that anyone needs to revisit like Fantasy Island or something, but as a kid, when I would see TV shows from the 70s, I would be like, turn this off, turn it off. I was like George C. Scott in hardcore. Like fucking my brothers would try to watch Dukes of Hazzard, and I'd be like, no. Like I just could not handle that faded look. But of course, as a film fan, 70s is one of the best decades, so you got to get into it.
You know, some of these movies I don't have a problem with, but TV shows for some reason, like Sanford and Son always bother me the way it looked.
Oh God, yeah.
And some of those other ones. I mean, some of them I did like What's Happening I liked.
Yeah, me too. But as soon as like the MASH music would start, I would just start freaking out.
MASH never appealed to me. Like I didn't get it. It looked awful to me. I didn't get Alan Alda's humor in it. My parents would watch it, or I think the reruns or whatever it was, because it came out at like 7 or 8, and I don't know, that bothered me. And like Charlie's Angels, like even though they were like pinups, all of them at the time, like none of them were like sexy to me. It's just like, what am I looking at?
The only 70s show I liked was Buck Rogers, and that was late 70s. That's post Star Wars.
That looks so dated.
That it does, but for some reason I always liked that. And I feel like it was weirdly like always came on at random times, or I just didn't know. It was always kind of shifting around the schedule. So it would come on and I'd be like, see Tweaky or whatever that little robot is. And I'd be like, oh yeah, nice.
Did you have a crush on Tweaky?
No, I had a crush on Erin Gray. Like, you know, like when you're a kid, when you're a little kid, there's like the women that you have crushes on, but it's like really, really random. Like sometimes you just like can't be attracted to anyone who's not your own age, but then sometimes there's like the adult women that you like. I'm talking about when you're like 5.
Yeah.
I had a better sex life when I was 5 than I do now.
I think at 5 I had a crush on any girl that was on a TV show.
Yeah, that is so true.
Don't get me started on Just the 10 of Us.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's the whole cast. Even the coach was getting thrown in.
Even like nowadays when I rewatch things like not Mr. Mr. Belvedere, like Heather the sister. It's like, yeah, she was good looking. Or like when we watched Growing Pains for our 30 minutes or less episode, we both said Carol was quite stunning looking.
Oh well, yeah.
She was going through a sexy phase.
Do you know? Speaking of Rocky Horror Picture Show and Riff Raff, do you know that I had a kitten named Riff Raff?
After Rocky Horror Picture Show?
No, after the Heathcliff cartoon.
I was about to say, wait, which one was Riff Raff? Was he the main guy?
No, he was the bad boy in like the Cadillac Cats segment.
Yeah,
he was like the leader,
Simone, right?
Yeah.
She was sexy. She was sexy too.
But I got a kitten. I was like literally 5 years old. Not even exaggerating. I was 5 years old. Got a kitten. All it would do was sit underneath the couch, and when you came by, it would try to like claw you.
It's just terrible.
And then my parents staged an escape. They clearly brought it back to the place, but they said that it had escaped.
Uh-huh.
And I was never positive about this. Then my 6-year-old niece was like, I know a story about you, but I'm not going to tell it. And I was like, what's the story? She's like, you could take care of your cat. And I was like, what? And she's like, you could take care of your cat. And she started like making fun of me for not taking care of my cat. I was like, I was younger than you. That never should have been put on a child.
We need to do the time warp and find out what happened to that cat.
Well, I might foster some cats for 2 weeks. Former guest of the show, Bria Grant, I was talking to her on the phone the other day, and she was on her way to foster these kittens. And she's like, you should do it. And I was like, I will do it. Tell them I'm going to do it. But I didn't realize, I thought it was you foster 1 kitten, but you actually foster 5 kittens. Imagine me with 5 kittens.
I can imagine that. You did do a pretty good job keeping that mouse alive, though.
That's true.
5 cats?
For 2
Kittens
weeks?
are fun, though.
Yeah. I think I'm going to do it.
Oh, he's going to do it. How many are going to survive?
Well, on the website, it was like, it said it's like, it can be a fun, messy, exciting, like it lists all these things. And then it said, and heartbreaking experience. And I was like, oh man, like what's like the death percentage here?
I hear a lot of times those kittens, especially the ones that you would foster, they have like either leukemia or like feline AIDS, which is not like human AIDS, but do you know about that?
I mean, I've known so many cats with feline AIDS. That's old hat to me.
That's also what's new hat to you.
Not to brag.
This guy's lived a life, everyone. He knows about feline AIDS.
I've been around.
He's dabbled.
If I could tell you how many girls I've dated that have been like, my cat actually has feline AIDS, it would be 2.
Now, my question for you, what are you going to do with your roommate?
My roommate? Who's my roommate?
Yeah, Alf.
Alf?
Yeah.
Is this a running joke that I've forgotten about?
Alf. Oh, come on. Alf eats cats.
I forgot. Oh, that's not even a good Alf voice. I did notice the Alf episode's getting a lot of listens lately, so that's great content.
Yeah.
That ties to one of the most popular episodes.
Yeah, that and Doom Asylum, which you mentioned earlier.
Why no listens for the Different Strokes episode? That's like the one episode that like has not been benefiting from it, and that's a good episode.
That is a good episode. That's one of my favorite 30-minute or less episodes.
Tune into Different Strokes. Come on.
Yeah, what's the problem? Is it because of Gary Coleman?
I don't know.
But anyways, you know, in a Rocky Horror Picture Show, where there's a theory that Frankenfurter is actually making a documentary for his homeworld, for the Transylvanians. And that's why several times he breaks down the fourth wall and talks to the camera or like throws the water at the camera, because it's a documentary style production. And even at the end when he sings a song, which would be interesting. And I feel like a part of this movie, and maybe why it's taken off so much, is that the viewer is somewhat of a Transylvanian. They're a bit of an outsider watching this movie, and they're being liberated into that lifestyle. I know I was.
I'm nodding. I love it.
Did you feel sexually liberated after seeing this?
I've never felt sexually liberated, but maybe someday.
So, got to watch this a couple more times. Now, what did you think of the criminologist, Charles Gray?
I found his role interesting. It feels
I
like a
wonder-
stage production at times, where it almost felt like, like when you're seeing like a play and it like there's like the set that'll cut to kind of that's like off to the side. Like I could kind of
Yeah.
picture that guy being like off to the side.
Some people theorize that he's actually a Transylvanian that's documenting everything. I don't know about that. I feel like maybe he's a researcher that stumbled. If it was a documentary style, maybe he stumbled on the footage and released it here in the States as maybe to expose the truths of aliens or to document a different lifestyle. Maybe it's like finding that counterculture of like the hippies or. But what do you think now? In that last song, when not the last song, but the song I referenced before, which I have to look up the name of it again. I can't remember that name of that song. The Wild and Untamed Thing. When Riff Raff sings the part where your mission is a failure, your lifestyle is too extreme.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think he means by the mission is a failure?
He was talking about our use of audio clips or overuse of audio clips.
So it all comes full circle. We're like the audience that's part of the production, and he's actually talking to us specifically.
It's the most meta thing of all time, but I don't know
That
why.
is. People, we don't use the audio clips anymore. My like obviously his creation of Rocky, which is ahead of its time. I mean, he was able to create a human being from nothing. And a sexy one at that, according to you. But that wasn't his mission, because if it was, he wouldn't have failed, because he did create like the ultimate man and plaything. Hedonism wouldn't have been his mission, because he was achieved that. So the theory is the sonic transducer that he created, which is able to transport objects or people through time. And that's what I guess Dr. Scott was hinting at. But obviously they were going to use it as something more sinister and probably either enslave humankind or maybe even on Transylvania, maybe it was their race was dying and they were going to transport humans there for mating. But like in the note that Eddie leaves to Dr. Scott, where he says that they're doing evil deeds there, I think he's referencing that he's uncovered something. And that was also part of the reason why Eddie had to go.
You know, I really related to that moment, because that felt like a note that I could write today and like leave under my neighbor's door. Going out of my head, I'm going to end up dead. Like, stop their evil deeds. That's right now.
Say if you've written 100 notes, I'm sure it's way more than 100, but say if you've written 100 notes, how many did you regret out of that 100 immediately after you sent it or delivered
100.
So it's 100%.
It's 100%.
But
I mean, there's a
but
few.
you
Oh,
never-
no. The note I left on the reopen protesters, the note I left on their car, I'll never regret that. That was the
I
best.
forgot that you're still doing this. I forgot you're still writing notes. But how come you haven't learned your lesson? Did you just think like, no, but this note I'm on stand behind? Like, you would think that if you're batting 100% in the negative column, like why would you continue? All right, time warp. Like that's a hell of a song, right?
Yeah, yes, it is.
He loves that song. I would love to ask you. I know we've done the time travel questions, like where would you go, what would you do, kind of thing. But I have a good new question for you about time travel or time warping. If you wound up in like to say like 1960s or 1940s, do you think you could be better than the pro athletes at the time?
No,
Because you watch some clip. Really, you watch some clips of that. You don't think you could go to like watch some of those old tennis players like Bobby Riggs or Rod Laver or something? You don't think you could beat them?
No, I think if I watched myself playing tennis on video, I'd blow my brains out.
But Dwyer. Wait, but how far back do we have to go in time before you're competing with the professional level?
Probably the caveman days. I'm like, let me explain. Don't eat me. Let me explain the game.
So, like, I know we talked about it in a previous episode. I don't know which one, but if you got in the ring with Mike Tyson, obviously he would annihilate you in like less than 10 seconds. He would light you up. But what about if you're going back to like the days of like Papa Jack Johnson or even like Max Schmeling or something? You don't think you could do a little better? You don't think you could maybe get some good punches in?
No, I don't think so. No.
I feel like wait, all right. So let's go back to like the early 1900s. Like you're batting up against Cy Young. You can't get a hit.
Nope.
See, I'm going to venture to say that I'm not obviously not an athlete, but I'm naturally athletic. I can hang and play sports with people.
That's
not
true.
not on the professional level, but I feel like I could go back in time and I could strike out Babe Ruth. I feel like you give me the ball. How hard were those guys throwing in 1900s?
This
60 miles an hour?
Man, this like active hubris should be enough to teleport you. If television has taught me anything, you should wake up and be like, "Am I having a dream?" And your wife's like, "Oh, honey, what are you talking about?" It's 1933.
In 1933, I'd be a gold medalist in the Olympics. Any event, this would put me in. Knowing what I know now, knowing how to train, knowing how to eat, knowing the equipment that you would need, I could be a professional football player. I would not be wearing one of those leather helmets. I would be out there. I would construct my own, whatever it's made out of. I don't even know. So I just defeated my own point. Dude, watch Olympics from like the 40s. Like watch somebody do gymnastics. I could do what they're doing.
All right, we'll see about that.
And I can't even do a somersault, and I could do what they're doing. Dude, they're going up on the pommel horse and just like jumping over it. Dude, I could do that. Dude, get me on that pommel horse. I'll show you what I can do. I don't know. Now, if you said transported me back to like the 80s and 90s, like, yeah, if I go against Michael Jordan, I don't have a chance. But you put me against Bob Cousy, I'm running circles around that guy.
Maybe.
Yeah. Remember like the early basketball when they didn't even there was no shot clock and the score would be like 3-2 or not 3 because there was no 3-pointer. It'd be like 4-2. Dude, I would get the ball and just be jacking up shots and getting the rebounds because these guys are like, I would be the tallest one out there. Back then, what was the average height in the 1900s? 5'6"?
I don't know what else to add about this topic, but I get it. I'm excited for you to time travel tonight.
Let's do the time warp again. We're going professional, baby.
I was surprised when I was reading the trivia for this that song was kind of put in randomly just to expand the running time of the musical because it was only 45 minutes long or something, and they needed to add more running time.
Yeah,
because that seems like the biggest hit from this.
Yeah, I really love the use of the music in this movie. It really like really builds a story up.
Yeah, it's a fucking musical. That's what they do, man. Musical bullies. How about I see Steven Stompheim on your head? Hey, this guy over here. I can't even. Cabaret, more like Gabadon. Fuck you.
What are you, Dice Man now?
Hamel 10, more like Hamel 0.
I don't know if that's too clever for the Dice Man or what you got going on there. Hamel 10. Oh, man. I feel like we mentioned Dice a lot.
So Riff Raff, he originally has like a hunchback, and then he doesn't have that when he at the end is revealed to like when he's turning on everybody with like that kind of trident laser gun. That's why I thought he was undercover. But what happened there?
I'm not the expert. I don't know. Maybe that is his American disguise as the handyman, like Igor-esque character. I don't know. I mean, I'm interested in the relationship he has with his sister. It's like a little sexual.
I love the, so they arrive, it's like classic, like coming in late at night out of like the storm, and they get involved in this whole kind of weird situation. And I love when Frankenfurter comes to Susan Sarandon in bed. And at first she's like not into it.
Yeah,
Here's a
yeah,
really random observation, but didn't you think he looked like Jermaine Clement in like the silhouette? Looked just like him.
That's so random. I like that he does it with Brad too.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That's such a funny scene. It's the same exact dialogue and everything. It's funny that, and then the next scene you see Brad smoking the cigarette.
Brad got into it too. I was like, this is. I wish I had seen this as a kid because it was so progressive.
Yeah.
You know, Rusty, I pulled up a Screen Rant listicle.
Mm-hmm.
All the songs ranked. You're never gonna believe what they put in last.
Your song, right?
Yep, over at the Frankenstein place. It says pretty much every song is good, but this one just is not iconic. To me, it
Like I'm
was
saying,
iconic.
Growing up, I didn't like that song. I like it now. I think Growing Up Time Warp was my favorite one. First time I saw it, but
that's number 2.
Oh, what's Sweet Transvestite number 1?
Yep.
Yeah. Where's Touch Me on that?
Touch Me comes in at number 6.
Really? What about Hot Patootie 3?
We might get a little shocker here because I haven't seen it yet. Hot Patootie coming in at number 13. Wow.
What?
That's shocking.
How is that?
Look, this is not a definitive list. It was just the first result on Google.
You know what I love about the Touch Me song, besides the sexy lyrics, is that at the end when you have the different characters saying "Creature of the Night." Do you remember that or no?
No.
Like you have like Rocky, like when Susan Sarandon and Rocky are engaging in lovemaking, and then like she's looking up and she sees like Rocky like "Creature of the Night," and then it's like the different, and then Brad's like "Creature of the Night," like very confused. But then you have Columbia, and she does it in the like high pitched voice. I love the way she does it. Well, it's very, very sexual. But there's one verse that says, "Then if anything grows while you pose, I'll oil you up and rub you down." And that's just one small fraction of the main attraction. You need a friendly hand, and I need action.
I don't get it.
This guy's obviously not in touch with his Transylvanian side.
I'm trying. I was just starting to be, and then they locked me inside.
Did you like the comedy in this movie?
Did I like it? I was rolling in the aisles.
I just think the subtleties of Dr. Frankenfurter are amazing.
Go on.
Like when he says to Brad, he's just like, "You got any tattoos?" And he's just like, "Well, certainly none." He's just like, "Oh well," like displeased with that, or just his reaction when he's asking like about his creation, Rocky, and he asks Susan Sarandon. She says like about too many muscles. He's like, "I didn't make him for you."
Oh yeah,
it was a mercy killing. Did you like when he killed Eddie?
No, I don't support that at all.
Did you love Eddie's character?
Yeah, I love any Eddie. And but I was going to say another Frankenfurter joke, or another subtle joke, is when Magenta says that Frankenfurter that Rocky is a triumph of your will.
Yeah,
this is a subtle joke playing on the Nazi propaganda movie Triumph of the Will.
Stop reading IMDb.
Presumably, Magenta says this because Rocky is quite muscular with light blonde hair, in many ways fulfilling the Nazis' Aryan Superman stereotype. 206 out of 209 found this interesting. Oops, I am reading.
Did you notice that they gave him the belly button plug? Because if you're a created human, you wouldn't need an umbilical cord.
Oh my God, that's like the riddle of my childhood. It was like, if Adam and Eve were standing in a room, how would you know it was them?
I like that. Now I have to go back to my children's Bible and see how they were portrayed. Did they have belly buttons?
I could see it now. They probably looked like the leads from Return to the Blue Lagoon.
Oh my God. That would have been hot. Hot stuff. They did have that look though. I mean, I think there was, I say my family here, but I believe there was some side boob or some cleavage. And for a little kid, that was pretty sexy.
Oh yeah.
See, look, as a kid, I was always been a perv. Dating back to the children's Bible.
Thought, yeah. I mean, we talked about this before, but I always thought puberty was such a myth because it's like I wanted a girlfriend from the womb. I came out, I was like, get me on Tinder.
Don't get me started on Punky Brewster. You know what I was
when he was her age. When he was her age.
Yeah, of course. You know what I was thinking of? Do you remember in the Harry Potter where Dumbledore has that pensieve where he stores all his memories?
Yes.
Imagine somebody found your pensieve and they were like looking through it. They would think you were a pedophile because obviously we had a lot of crushes as kids on girls our own age.
Oh yeah.
They would be like, this guy just has, look at these memories. I mean, are they dated at least in the pensieve? Can they like look at it and be like, oh, wait, this one's from 1982?
My bigger fear would be like they watched all the memories and they're like, okay, so that took an hour. Everything else was just wasted time. Man, this guy hasn't lived.
They would have like the 6 days I played Rocket League that they would have to go filter through. You know what I want to say about the children's Bible, though, before I forget my point for bringing that up? If you scroll through it, it had the part with the plagues of Egypt, and it had the part where Jesus cast the devil away. And I always liked all like the horrible things in there, like the what was the thing that happened to Noah? The raiding, the flooding.
The thing that happened to Noah, the raining.
There's a part where Samson was like being seduced so they could get his hair, and I was just like, oh, that's sexy. The woman seducing him. Children's Bible.
Who knew that later in life it'd all be about the hair?
It'd all be. I hate to tell you this, but I'm sure you're not surprised. But Peter Hinwood, who played Rocky, went bald soon after that role.
Oh, you could tell from his hair. I was like, I could pull that. I could pull that haircut off.
Apparently, he did some nude modeling. He's a male model. So if you look him up, you'll see some dick pics.
I mean, I would hope so. He had like a perfect bod.
He did have a good body. Yeah, I feel bad for him though because he couldn't do much acting.
Yeah,
had to cut all his life.
See, that's why I read that Tim Curry was always kind of a little insecure about Frankenfurter, and he purposefully gained weight because he didn't want to be seen as like a sex symbol anymore. And I was like, his body's okay. It's like, but Rocky is like the bod.
If you were, because you know how people like cosplay the shit out of this movie, who would you go dress up as?
Sadly, I'm like 1 month away from only being able to do one of the two old men. So I could either be the narrator or I could be the guy in the wheelchair later.
Dr. Scott.
Dr. Scott. Also, remember when Dr. Scott, when his wheelchair starts going crazy, then he like smashes through the wall and everything? Man, in the 70s and 80s, people were obsessed with wheelchairs having a mind of their own and like fucking with people in a wheelchair. You don't see that anymore, and rightfully so. But that was really a thing.
Wait, what are you specifically referencing? I'm thinking of Nightmare on Elm Street 3, the wheelchair.
It's not exactly a wheelchair, but I was thinking of Gremlins. Then you got the Changeling. That's a ghost riding the chair. What
about Monkey Shines? Isn't the guy in the wheelchair in that one?
He is. And very controversially, he gets out at the end. It's like, oh, it was actually a mistake. You're all fine now.
I don't know. You never like put on like, you never dressed up in any of your mom's clothes? Is that just me? What was I doing?
I mean, yeah, no, I did not.
Not like bra and panties, but like I would, like my mom had clip-on earrings. I would put those on. Some costume jewelry. Some, what else did I do? I don't know. Shoes.
Big, like a pantsuit that's like too big for you as like a really little kid.
Yeah.
You look like someone shrunk Hillary Clinton.
I did have the Hillary Clinton cut. Oh man. So you would go doctors. I don't know. I feel like didn't Sigmund Freud Dr. Freud over there.
I mean, I guess he was a doctor.
Yeah, but did he suggest that that's part of normal boy development to fantasize about their mother's shoes and like to put them on and stuff? I know I wore my mom's shoes around the house and stuff.
We should, as a society, collectively, dig up Freud and kick his ass. Well, everything's so simple with that guy. You want to fuck your mother? No, I didn't. Get the doctor. Walk out of here.
That's exactly
about to get your ass kicked.
But that's exactly the response a guy that does want to fuck their mother would say.
Oh no! That's how he did his whole scheme. People are like, I can't look like I want to kick this guy's ass, so I have to be like, oh yeah.
I don't even want to tell you what that cigar means. Okay.
I don't know.
What about Young? How about we just get them? We dig up Freud, we dig up Young, and we do Rock'em Sock'em Robots with them.
You know, one of the last things I did before the pandemic, I went to a rowdy screening of the movie Cats. That was kind of a fun experience. I feel like that could have started becoming something until everything got shut down.
Oh, really?
Because it was like a weekly event that kept selling out.
Really?
Yeah, because the movie's really insane. It's like it's kind of like The Room. It's like a insane experience to witness.
Oh, but like bad but good?
Yeah, exactly. And like just like so weirdly bad.
I hate what The Room has become. Like I feel like Tommy Wiseau doesn't deserve that success.
Yeah.
I hate that like he's a celebrity now, and like the fact that he like thinks that, like the film was deliberately bad because he knew like that's what the audience wanted.
Yeah, I hate that as well. It's so much more interesting when a movie is just like the work of some deranged like person.
Yeah. I mean, did you see The Disaster Artist?
Yeah, I read the book also. I actually really enjoyed the book, but I watched the movie and I was not very into it.
But you like the original Room? Like the...
Oh yeah, but The Room, I
original.
hadn't seen The Room until like last year. Like I was like the last person to see it, and of course I watched it like alone. And but I had a good time.
I saw it in the city twice for those midnight showings. And the first time I went, it was like completely packed. Like the audience was really into it. They were like doing all the comments, and it was fun. The second time I went, there was like 6 people there. I was just like, "What happened? This is horrible." And there was one girl that was kept commenting, but her jokes, nobody laughed at our jokes. All our jokes fell flat.
Oh.
And like she knew she was bombing, so she would like start the joke, whatever she was saying, and it would trail off and never finish. This girl's bombing. She's still going. Jen and I still joke about that. But
set me up with her. She sounds great.
I think she was by herself, if I remember, because I remember turning around to see who was saying all these things.
My friend Pablo was once at a showing of Jackie Brown, and a guy kept laughing hysterically behind him. And then he finally turned around, and who was laughing? It was Quentin Tarantino.
Really?
Laughing at his own film.
I love it. What the fuck? What about the dinner scene? That's a great scene.
You know, the actors, Rusty, the actors in the film.
Yeah.
You know,
do you want me to save you now? Did you know?
I was trying to find it on the
IMDb. Do you know the actors did you know the actors had a very difficult time shooting this movie? Yeah. On set because there was no working bathroom and it was very cold and wet.
I saw that they when in the pool scene they were freezing.
Yeah, Susan Sarandon actually got pneumonia and acted her way through that.
Wow!
So big credit to her. One of those acting.
Do you remember? Okay, here's the most random reference ever made on this show. Wilford Brimley was on a sitcom. That's how you get them. I start all my online dates. Wilford Brimley was on a sitcom.
Look, I'm intrigued.
It was either called Our Family or Our House. Do you remember this?
Yeah, Our House. Yeah.
Our House. Yeah. And was it Chad Allen?
Yes.
There was one episode where I just remember this. He was trying to make Chad Allen take cold showers. And the mom was like, he's an 11-year-old boy. And he's like, he's got to learn. And I was like, is a cold shower like something you have to do to grow up?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it. What's the point? Is it because it kills the boner that he's walking around?
God damn it, you got to kill your boner. What a weird show that is.
Well, if you had a boner and you got in a cold shower, what do you think's going to happen?
My whole soul would be annihilated, much less my boner.
So what's the point of is that manly? What is I
think so. I feel like the episode was like Wilford Brimley's character was like, goddamn kids are getting soft. And so he was like making the kids do things that were like, old world.
When did he have to kill somebody with their bare hands? He made Chad do that.
Tragically, the show was. Did you watch this show back then?
No, I remember like the intro.
The weird thing is, I feel like it wasn't on like a network. I feel like it was like a syndicated show. It was like on TBS or something weird. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. I don't know.
I think you remember wrong. I feel like it was an ABC show, but I'm not sure.
It does sound like an ABC show.
Yeah.
Cloying family bullshit. Okay, let me check this real quick.
It was actually, I just looked it up. It was NBC, Our House.
Oh, wow. There you have it.
86 to 88, not that long of a run.
Really?
Because of people like you bashing the cold shower.
If you had asked me, I would have been like, that ran from 78 to 94.
This definitely has a 70s feel to it.
Oh, it really does.
Like late 70s to like.
Oh. Remember when you catch like a glimpse of the Waltons? That was like looking in Medusa's eyes. It was like, turn that off.
A period show in the 70s was disgusting. Like Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
The Waltons.
I don't want to, I feel bad insulting this, but ever try to watch Roots? It was like, I can't stand how it looks. I'll probably cut that out.
How about touching that?
It was just the film quality. It wasn't and I'm sure it was good quality. I don't know.
Do you remember the part where Brad refers to the castle as a hunting lodge for rich weirdos?
Yes, I do.
How would Brad Majors describe your place?
Probably the way that a lot of people would. Nice, very nice, except for the Onpon Man toys. Except for those toys that just bring you back a little bit.
That's how you get them.
I actually, I at age 41.8.9 probably, I said to myself, I might move my stuffed tofu out of the living room, and Michael Myers as well. It might be time. Finally, going to grow up.
Michael Myers, that's the pillow person, right?
Yeah,
that's cool. That's a nice feature.
Well, you're just anti Japan. That's your problem.
I'm just anti Onpon Man and stuffed tofu, whatever the fuck you just called it. I don't know. It's not my thing. I would walk into your place. I'd be like, this guy's a fucking loser.
You'd be right. Edward, he's right. Listen, when I was 41, I fucked that up. Most of the actors and actresses were told about the prop corpse of Eddie underneath the dining room table. When it was revealed during filming, their looks of horror are genuine. The only three who knew: Tim Curry, Richard O'Brien, and Meatloaf.
Mm-hmm. Well,
405 out of 409 found it interesting. Tim Curry, Richard O'Brien, and Meatloaf did not find it. They were like, we already bloody knew it, mate.
Who's that supposed to be?
That's two of the three guys are British, so.
Yeah, but which guy talks like that?
I don't know. Is Tim Curry still alive?
Yes, he had a stroke a few years ago.
Yeah, I feel like I think he's like dying a while ago. Is he okay?
He's in a wheelchair, but I think he's surviving.
It's good to hear.
I don't know. I don't know if he still can speak normally. I'm not sure. I don't know if he's recovered that ability yet.
We must be his voice. He's like, I don't bloody know you. I don't bloody know you. Who are you? We're going to speak for you, sir.
If Tim Curry spoke like that, he would never have a career.
Mate, I'm speaking fine, mate. Oh, bloody hell.
He's like a bogan now. Bogan Tim Curry.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
I miss
really
so bogan bashing. Wow, this is a shocking credit. He's in Star Wars, The Clone Wars, as Darth Sidious, Chancellor of Palpatine.
Is that true?
As the voice, yeah. It seems like he's done a lot of voice work in his later years.
It's very sad to see. Like, you watch this movie, then you think about all these actors are like in their 70s now.
I remember being a little kid. They used to talk about the Fountain of Youth, and you're like, that's just a myth. And now you're like trying to get an expedition together to go search for it.
If you could rewind 10 years of your life, but 1,000 people had to die for it, would you take that?
I can't answer that question publicly.
What about 1,000 people you know?
They're like 1,000 people I know. They're like 1,000 people had to die just so you could play. You were already playing Rocket League. You're just all you did was relive playing Rocket League and maybe like an earlier Call of Duty.
The really sad thing is a lot of times when I look up actors that were in things, and they were like in their. I know we've done this bit before. We're not doing a bit, but they're in their like 30s at the time. And it's just like, damn, they look so old. Do you know? You remember? You know the famous incident with Bud Dwyer.
Yeah.
Do you know he was like only like 36 or 38 when he killed himself on TV? 30.
Wow.
He's like a few years, and he looked like he could have been like one of those
He
old
looked
time
like a-
baseball, like a Phil Negro guy.
He looked like an
Looks he
old
was in his
teacher at our
60s.
school.
Yeah. But when Phil Negro and Joe Negro looked ancient when they were pitching their last years, like when they were like 42, 43, they're like almost our age, and they looked like they could have been like my grandfather.
You know, Tim Curry was Tim Burton's second choice for the role of the Joker in Batman.
Really?
Yes, he was.
That would have been interesting. I wonder if how he would have pulled that off.
And you know, his first choice was Martin Short. And you know, his
I don't know
first
why am I
was
laughing at that?
Chevy Chase.
We're just doing the Three Amigos now because of Steve Martin.
I'm the Joker, and you're not.
It's always like that thing, like, oh, if he was cast, it would have been a different movie, but we would have just accepted it as is. Like, we would accept the movie.
It's like sometimes I look back on things in life, and I'm like, I wish it went that way. I wish it went this way. And I'm like, wow, the crazy thing is I never would have known.
Yeah.
You know? It's deep stuff.
Exactly.
Do you know that Tim Curry originated the role of Amadeus, Wolf Mozart, in Amadeus on Broadway?
Wow. Look at that. A little Tim Curry trivia for everyone.
Yep. You could just follow me across the internet. Whoa, this is a big one. He performed, already an accomplished singer, he performed a cover of the theme song to Walt Disney's Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier. We mentioned those Davy Crockett movies in a previous episode. I can't imagine why, but we did. Help me.
I don't even know what to do to help you. Sing me one of these songs.
Ed, you know, there's a light on at the Frankenstein place up ahead. We could go stay there. Yeah, let's get out the rain. Guys, I don't know. This is a weird journey we're on now. That place. Mary's she's all wet. She comes wet. She's always covered in blood. But now she's covered in water, Ed. The blood is thicker. Blood is thicker than water. You don't remember that, Ed? Ed, you can't bring me into every episode of your podcast. I'm sorry, but you can't do it. I know, right? I'm going to leave you now.
I want to see this one man play.
Happy home.
I feel like I'm getting a glimpse into what you're doing when you're by yourself in your apartment. Do you think you would watch this movie again?
Oh, definitely. I think this can become like a movie. I have certain movies that I put on all the time. Like,
yeah,
man, that 4K restoration of the original Suspiria, I've probably put that on over 100 times. I love it.
Oh, you know what you would love to know? The sequel to this movie, Shock Treatment, Jessica Harper takes on the role as Janet Weiss.
Really? That's shocking.
I'm saying the German right, Jano. Yeah, so although I will say this, Shock Treatment, I like it. It's very weird. I don't really understand the plot, but it's a bit ahead of its time as well, from what I gather. But soundtrack is really good on that too. Not as good as Rocky Horror, not as memorable, but I would definitely recommend to our audience to check that out if you're a Rocky Horror fan.
Another connection, I have a signed poster of Jessica Harper in my bathroom.
Really?
Jessica Harper shits with me. She shits with me.
The song in that Rocky sings in this movie, The Sword of Damocles, do you know what that means?
Well, I know it's an expression of when doom is hanging over you.
Yeah.
Although it does make me think of that store, The Bladesman, that used to be on Sunrise Highway. We always mention for some reason. I guess imagine that guy being like, check this out over here. I got a sword of Damocles. This is only one available. $1,200. I'm giving it away. $1,200 at that price. It's gem mint 10. Sword of Damocles.
When everything turns to shit and Frankenfurter uses the Medusa machine on them and turns them to stone, and then revives them into that play that he has. What did you think of that scene when they're all in the pool having like a little orgy?
Oh, I loved it.
And little Nils' top could barely stay on in that.
And what was the song during that? If you think it, you can be it, or something. What was that? Be it.
Don't Dream It, Be It.
Oh yeah, I was inspired.
You know what? Richard O'Brien actually got that because off of a muscle magazine, like one of those 50s muscle magazines.
Really love it.
The Charles Atlas magazines, which is a totally different context because it's about seeing the beefcakes and don't dream it, just be it. Start pumping iron. But in this movie, it's totally different. Did you see it coming that Frankenfurter was going to be murdered?
No, I did not. I thought he'd live to the end. So he's not. Is he in shock treatment? Does he come back?
No. The weird thing about shock treatment, Brad and Janet return, but they're played by different actors. But Riff Raff is there, Little Nell, Patricia O'Quinn, and the criminologist, but they're all in different roles.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting movie, and it's actually ahead of its time. It's pretty much says how reality TV goes too far, and this is before reality TV existed when it came out.
Wow.
But people obsessing over reality TV. Go see it, people.
Wow. I see that Richard O'Brien also has 2 stunt credits.
What stunts did he do in this movie?
None in this movie. He was the uncredited stunt rider in Casino Royale, the 1967 version.
Really? Wow. Do you know, I mean, this is not that interesting, but Richard O'Brien's girlfriend at the time was one of the Transylvanians.
Really?
Yeah. She was the one that had her hair combed over her face. You know what I like? I always notice something new about the Transylvanians every time I watch this movie. But there's one guy that kind of looks like Paul Rubens or Pee Wee Herman. That's all I have.
What?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, we'll be back next time, Rusty.
With Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Woo! I'm Buffy, baby.
I've been living and breathing Buffy all summer. I'm coming in strong.
But can you handle the movie? You've been handling the TV show.
Yeah, I can handle the movie.
I don't know.
So it's like you just got your PhD. Can you go back to high school? Yeah, I think I can.
I don't know. Like Christy Swanson, man, you might need a cold shower. Get in that cold shower.
Oh, get the kid in there.
All right.
Damn it.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
To the late night double feature picture.